Hello, everyone. My name is Sika Antonio, and welcome, welcome, welcome. If you haven't ever watched this particular platform and you love some of the things that I'm about to say, please subscribe to my channel, both on YouTube and on Facebook, so that you can get more value from the sorts of things that I talk about. Good morning. So my name is Sika, and today I just wanted to talk about this whole issue about Meghan and Harry and all the things that have spewed out of it, and to tell you my take on the situation and the lessons, if any, that need to be learned out of this situation. I'm normally not one that likes to talk about such things that are very controversial and, that sometimes seeks to cause a divide between people because everybody has an opinion, and sometimes those opinions can clash and cause sometimes very deep-seated misunderstandings and misgivings between people. But at the end of the day, for me, there are two or three issues that just stand out for me. And no matter what your view is, to me, you can't take it away from the people that are talking about it. I've seen a whole host of people who have suddenly become experts at talking about the royal family and the monarchy without really understanding the ins and outs of it. I'm not a royal. I'm not from the royal family. I don't purport to know the ins and outs of it either. But at least I was born and part raised in England, and I've seen and observed and looked at a lot of things over the years. And it is from that perspective that I want to shed light on what I've seen. There's been a significant level of progress in the givings and the dealings within the establishment. But that is not to say that there isn't more room for improvement. There are things that are still deep-seated issues that need to be addressed within the monarchy. Now, one of the main problems that I have seen that has arisen is that ever since Diana passed away, a whole lot of cracks have appeared for me personally that I have seen that I suppose in a lot of ways were just swept under the carpet and not really addressed. Diana was a Caucasian woman who wasn't completely happy in her marriage. There were a whole host of things that went on. And following that, lessons had to be learned about certain things. But for me, the two children that were left behind, i.e. William and Harry, they suffered a whole host of issues that don't appear to have been fully dealt with. One of those is the mental health issue. And as you can see, Harry and now Meghan openly and publicly have spoken about these things. Harry has been blunt and honest about his challenges with his mental health ever since his mom passed away. And it took him going into adulthood to remember and to feel and to know that those were the things that were happening. A lot of people would describe Harry as the unconformist. He didn't conform to the norm, which is, do before complain, obey, conform, and just be like another typical royal. He was often described to be the rebellious one, the prodigal son, the one that was different. And I guess sometimes by his very appearance, he looks different too. A whole host of things have been said about those two since their mom sadly passed away. But for me, one of the things that a lot of people are refusing to see is that Harry, William, and now even Meghan have all suffered and are probably still suffering from some kind of a mental health issue that needs to be addressed. Harry has been unhappy for a very long time. And now Meghan is talking openly about some of the things that she has experienced within the royal family. Now, what shocks me is that people go out and start attacking Meghan. I don't care whether you like or dislike Meghan. I don't know her. She's not my family. There is no connection. And I haven't been paid a dime to say the things that I say. But I observed from the very beginning when Meghan was introduced to the world as Harry's significant other. And right from the British press down to the ordinary Joe Blog, Meghan has suffered a lot of negative comments. She's short of abuse. I don't even know what to call that. Kate never had half of that. She did not. Oh, people try to compare her to Diana, her sense of dressing, blah, 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 blah. But Meghan comes into the family simply because, to me, simply because her mom's Black. She, from the very beginning, suffered a whole host of issues. If she took a step, it's like, why didn't she slant her leg a bit more to the left? If she held her bump just like Kate did, or every normal pregnant woman does, as long as it isn't anybody else but Meghan, somebody had a comment about it. And, you know, this woman has suffered in silence for a long, long time. And so people saying things like, oh, Meghan has money and she shouldn't, you know, be playing the race card, just really blows my mind. It really does. It's one of the things that I want to talk about and ask questions here. And the question I want to put to people is this, is that, so if somebody has money, and yet that same person, by virtue of the fact that they've been married into a particular family, and people start discussing whether how dark or what skin tone her baby that still is in her belly and yet to be born is going to have. If that isn't race, what else is it? Because we all know that Meghan's mom is Black. Meghan herself may not look as Black as me, but as far as I'm concerned, and by definition, even if you have one drop of Black blood in you, the whole world, and especially within the Caucasian community, you're described as Black. If you're not Black, what are you? What is Trevor Noah, for example? His mom was South African Black, and his dad was Caucasian. And when he arrived in the States and he looked at the different kinds of descriptions that have been, the classes of people that have been put on a particular piece of paper, he couldn't find anything that described him in his mind because his dad's white and his mom's Black. So he's half white and half Black. At the end of the day, he realized very quickly that by the mere virtue of the fact that his mom was Black, Trevor Noah is Black. So what is the difference between Trevor Noah's Blackness and Meghan Markle's Blackness? What is the difference? Because she certainly isn't white. So what is she? And should a human being's very existence be determined by the color of a parent's skin? Or should a person's existence be described as the very person that that person is another question that I have for people. You know, we're starting to make this conversation look as if the only people that can shout the race card are people who financially or economically don't have money, and people that look like me, because I'm very Black. So the darker your skin tone and the less money you have, you qualify to raise the race card. But if you're whiter than me and you have a bit of money, how dare you raise the race card? I mean, I just cannot understand that line of thinking that I have seen, you know, being expressed by a lot of people, some of the people shockingly, to be honest. And that is one of the things. Number two, we also have to call a spade and say that Meghan was not treated fairly by the British press at all. In fact, all she was bombarded with, even became before she joined the family in as a couple, being married legally, it started. It's with her steps. It's with the way she smiled. Oh, she doesn't, this is not conformity with, how the royal family would have done things. And there's a whole lot of learning that she needs to do. But as it came out in that interview, she was never officially offered an opportunity to be able to do the same things that the ordinary people are. You see, there was never really a plain and fair learning field for the two of them. If you compare Kate to Meghan, Meghan was never, ever prepared for what she was supposed to be dealing with. People say, oh, she knew what she was getting herself into. She should have known what she was getting herself into. What was it that she had to know? This woman is American. She was born and raised American. If truly a family is accepting you for who you are and how you are, because a member of their family chooses to fall in love with you, shouldn't you be given, and the lessons about the things that you need to do in order to conform to the way things are done? Isn't that really the way that you can be made to feel that you're part of something? Especially when you haven't been raised like that, when you don't belong to that very association. And so it's almost as if Meghan had no business falling in love with Harry and being married into that family. That is what some people are trying to say in a long, convoluted manner. And it's just really amazing that now all of a sudden, when it comes to Meghan, different rules apply. We're trying to say that the institution has to choose and prescribe who the members of the institution are allowed to fall in love with. As human beings, are we defined, or are we allowed? Is our heart guarded and pushed in a particular direction so that you're only allowed to fall in love with a certain person? Or is the heart just the heart, and your heart just goes where your heart goes? Is my question. And so for me, looking at everything that has been said, the lessons that I have learned is that, number one, if you have mental health issues, talk about it. To hell with what anybody thinks. And this whole thing about Meghan is pretending she doesn't know the next thing about mental health issues. She's trying to use Harry to advance her career and her businesses and all of that. That is a load of bollocks, as far as I'm concerned. As somebody who has suffered mental health issues myself and been close to others who have and lost a relative to it, I can tell you that you can't pretend to have mental health problems. If you have it, you have it. This woman has been bombarded with issues to do with how she looks and how she didn't do something right and how she has to be quiet, and try to prevent her from having a voice. But now she's standing up for herself, and that in itself is an issue to people. And so those of you who are screaming and shouting that Meghan ought to keep quiet about her mental health issues, shame on you. Those of you who are saying that she's pretending to have mental health issues, shame on you. If you've never suffered mental health issues before, if you've never had something that literally takes over your life to the point where you can't find meaning to living, you can't understand. But the fact that you don't understand something doesn't mean that somebody is pretending. If you can't imagine what it must be like, shut your mouth. And in any case, who has given anybody rights to say what somebody can say they're feeling or not? I mean, why should somebody say to another person, oh, if I say that I'm feeling cold, oh, you're lying, it's not cold. Are you inside my body? to tell me whether I'm cold or not. I am the one in my body, and I'm telling you I'm cold. I'm telling you I've got mental health issues. How dare you say to me that it's a lie? You don't have any mental health issues. What the hell? What the hell? And so to me, kudos to her for having a voice and being bold enough to talk about it. That is number one. Number two, I pray that she gets the help that she needs for herself, for Harry, and for the family. And I hope that finally the press can leave these two people in peace. I don't know why people are so obsessed by them. I don't know. I cannot understand why people can't just leave these two human beings alone to have their lives, just like the other people in the royal family are getting on with their own. I cannot understand why people's focus is so much on Meghan and Harry and less so for Kate and William and all the other people in the family, for Charles and Camilla and the rest of the people in the royal family. I don't understand. And so if it isn't about race and the color of her skin, being the only person that looks different to the rest, being the only person that has a parent that looks like me, what is the reason? Is it just that people are obsessed with Meghan? Is it that people just hate her for the fact of hating? Guys, in the 21st century, if we're still going to sit here in 2021 and not call a spade, and not say that the color of somebody's skin by virtue of the parentage that they've had is a tool that is used against people, whether they're rich or not, poor or rich, then I don't know whether we really seriously want this whole fight about equality to be a thing, or whether it is just words, mere words that are being spewed out and spread around to make people feel better. If as a society, as a world, globally, we're not prepared to address this thing and create a fairer playing field for everybody, regardless of the color of their skin, then I'm afraid that this whole talk about, equality and Black Lives Matter is just a bloody joke. It's just a joke. And so it's about time. It's about time that we begin to sit ourselves down and ponder over what we've heard today. We've heard this week about the royals, but more especially what we ourselves individually are going to do about race. Whether you're Black or not doesn't matter. And for my sisters that are Black anyway, it is evident that the only way to survive and thrive is to be self-sufficient. If Meghan, who had money of her own even before she got into the royal family, is facing this kind of cruelty from people, from the press, and from members of the general public, I shudder to imagine what it would have been like for her if she came from a family that had nothing, or if she herself had nothing prior to joining the royal family. I shudder to think about what would have happened in that instance. If Meghan were me, from a village that doesn't even appear on a map, I shudder to imagine what she would have gone through if that was her situation. And so, guys, let's just call a spade a spade. Let's just be honest here. Except that somebody is talking about how she felt. And if you've got nothing better to say, then just shut up. It's my opinion. And secondly, I pray that support is given to Meghan and Harry finally to get what it is that they need so that they can fix their minds and get healthier mentally. And number three, lesson that I have learned is that at the end of the day, when all is said and done, when the cookie crumbles, your own life is in your own hands. The only person that can make effective changes is you. It's you, race or not. The fight is real. And so, yes, as a Black woman who's been discriminated against myself, fight is what I'm saying. Do everything you humanly possibly can to make a better life for yourself. Work hard with your 10 fingers. Yes, but love cannot be controlled. True love is the one that is just allowed to flourish and blossom into greatness. And so, people, nobody gets to choose who Harry chooses to fall in love with, who Meghan is in love with. It is time we leave them alone and mind their own freaking businesses. The amount of time that people waste talking about these people, if you spend half of that making a life for yourself, life would be really good. And so let us just call a spade a spade. Let us just be honest here and face up to the facts and stop hiding behind you can't talk about race when you come from affluence and she's lying about her mental health. I am so disappointed in some of you. So disappointed. I am so disappointed in people that I thought had open minds about certain things, but obviously not. It is time. It is time we quit this whole hate Meghan thing and move on with our lives and think about things that are, going to promote you. Whatever you think of her, she's happy living her life. Live yours. And so I hope that, my rant this morning has made some sense to somebody. But I am just so disappointed and heartbroken at the sorts of comments that I am seeing. Um, for some people, it's okay to not talk about things or turn it over to make themselves feel better. Shame on you. Let us just call a spade and say it as it is, because it is what it is. I love you guys. Keep watching this channel. Subscribe to YouTube and follow Facebook, Seeker Educates. I love you. Take care and God bless you. Have a fantastic, fantastic day.